Hello, everyone out there, and welcome back to the Elite Racing Network, where tonight we will bring you the Josh and Becky Mann Memorial 130 live from Road America, kicking off our playoffs over here at a road course. So guys are going to be strung all the way out through this field. I have a feeling by the end of this thing, it might turn into a little bit of the Ethan Stanley Invitational based on some of the stuff we've seen at road courses here in the past. As you can see, Road America, quite the track, over 4 miles long. I mean, just an absolutely huge track. One corner might be shaded, and you have a lot of grip. The next corner might be sitting there baking in the sun. You slide around everywhere. But joining me in the booth tonight is David Huckleberry and Josh Adams as we get ready to kick off this race at the playoffs. And we're going to have quite the parade lap here, so we got a lot of time to talk about it. Dave, Jake, what are you guys thinking about this race, kicking off the playoffs? What do you think we're going to see tonight?
Well, first off, Josh Adams is in the 23 car tonight. Jake Adams in the booth with you. And then this is the middle race in the playoffs. We had Nashville Super Speedway last week, and we're the middle of the round here at Road America.
You know what? These schedules were not synced up. We have not started the playoffs in the truck. This whole opening was awful, and it's all on me. I can't blame Dave. There was nothing to read. It's all on me. You know, these playoffs aren't synced up quite perfect. We haven't started the truck playoff yet. But anyway, as you said, it's the middle race of this round. So what do you think we're going to see tonight? That still stands to reason and stands to be true. We got a lot of tire wear out here. We're going to have, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 laps on fuel. So what do you think we're going to see out of this race, Jake?
Yeah, I think from what we all expect, the Ethan Stanley Invitational. Outside of that, like you mentioned, a hot slick track out here, and then also to mention, you run off track and you get all that grass and dirt across the track, and that just adds another extra element to some of these blind corners.
And what about you, Dave? What is your outlook for this race?
I think it's probably going to be like a usual elite road course race where it's going to get really strung out, and what's going to take people out is usually their own mistakes. Slide off here or there, or into a wall here or there. Not a lot of side-by-side racing outside of maybe the top, maybe 3 or 4, not the top 1. Once Stanley gets to the lead, then it's the battle between the next 3. So that's what I expect.
And as you see here, our race lineup is on the screen. You see that a Lake Norman car won the pole, but it is not the one that you would bank on, as Tyler Fode outdoes Ethan Stanley here on the front row. Chad Frankenfield all the way up to 3rd. Weeks, Wadsworth, Tommy Ryan, John Cutlip, Dylan Javier, Hunter Smith, Scott Crump round out the top 10. We got Jared Rexing is in the playoffs. He's back here outside the top 10 in 13th. I believe Seth is in the playoffs, all the way back in 17th. Ethan Burrell back to 18th. Josh Adams not in the playoffs, so we won't even talk about him. Tate Lytle barely made it on time, tried to qualify, didn't happen quite as good for him. Joe Francis back there, 27-28. That's our last 2 playoff guys right at the back of the field. And real quick, Jake and Dave, picks to win right here. Come on, what do you got? Can't pick Ethan Stanley.
Well, there's a lot of our other road course guys that aren't here. Chad's usually pretty good at the road courses, so we'll go ahead and take him.
I'll take Matthew Weeks.
We got Chad, we got Weeks. You know, I'm going to pop down here. I am going to take... I'm thinking Dylan Javier. That's a road course guy. He's won some of the stuff there in the sports car series. But real quick, before we go green, I want to talk about tonight's race sponsor. Of course, it is in memory of Josh and Becky Mann, who were tragically killed last week. Goody is driving a special scheme tonight for them, and they were pillars of the community in Taylor County, Wisconsin. The community is raising money for their 4 children facing a future without the guidance of their parents far sooner than they ever thought. You can find the link to the GoFundMe in the YouTube description. And I understand that he was also a firefighter, both well-liked, well-loved by the community, and so our thoughts and prayers go out to them tonight, and hopefully every little bit helps, and we're going to try to help them out tonight a little bit. As this race goes green, we head for turn 1. Let's see how long Ethan Stanley chooses to follow Tyler Fode, and it looks like he's going to try to stay out there through turn 1. Pretty clean corner, it looks like, for the most part. Don't see anybody missing that corner. Head down for turn 2. Going to drop a gear, get some drive off, lean on those rear tires. And Ethan Stanley to the point. So Fode got the lead through, I guess, a corner and a half there before Stanley took it away. And here comes Fode with the big dive. He's going to look to take this back.
Yeah, he knows his opportunities are few and far between, and he's got to try and get the spot and just hope something happens to Stanley while the pack is all still gathered up here. But there also is the stager coming up at 8.
Yeah, and they will all probably pit at the stage. We'll see. Somebody might do something a little different. We will see how that shakes out. But they cannot make it on fuel to the end of the race from the stage. They'll be somewhere around 5 to 8 laps short on fuel. All this line of cars turning into a conga line here. Everybody getting single file. We're not seeing too much more side by side. Stanley starting to create a little bit of a gap out there. Looking like Dario Franchitti had a road course there in the mid-2000s in an IndyCar race. Driving away from Fode, driving away from Chad Frankenfield right there, and I'm sure, based on road course success, that is definitely Ricky Rudd this week, not Dale Sr. Taking a look there at that race format. 2 sets of tires. They will probably want to use both sets. Just under 130 miles is tonight's race. No rain. Maybe coming soon. Rain in the stock car division. What do you think there, Jake? You think we're going to see some rain here in the next year?
Yeah, I'm sure at some point they'll give us some rain tires for at least here at the road courses. I know NASCAR's been trying to dabble in the rain stuff on short tracks, but more than anything, here for sure.
And that was a very clean first lap for most of the field. Kudos to the field. I didn't see any issues there. Didn't see anybody spin out in that first lap. These guys have been talking about how little grip there is out here. How hard it is to get these rear tires hooked up, and that 2 to 3 seconds of fall off over the course of a run. And a run here is only 18 laps. So quite the track. This is the biggest track they will race on. This is the biggest, like I said, this is the biggest. Did somebody just say something about being deep in the tire barrier? I don't see it. One thing that is popping up here on my screen is we've got that ketchup and mustard flag popping up, which means the track is getting dirty. So I believe that is down there in, what is that, the turn 4 area, turn 5 area, where you go really slow through the left-hander. A lot of these guys are dipping off onto the right side of the track, coming up out of that corner, and the track is getting very dirty down there. And what exactly will that do to these race cars when the track gets dirty there, Jake?
Yeah, well, the no grip in the tires, you go to hit the brakes, and it's kind of almost like they're not there, and you start hearing it. Sitting in the car, you can hear all the marbles and all the dirt kicking around, and once you start hearing that, you pretty much know that you got to baby it to the brakes if you're even going to try and go to the brakes. If you go to the brakes full send, like here in that corner in particular, you're going to end up in the sand trap out there pretty quick.
Yeah, and you see how much racetrack these guys are using, how much runoff they're using. That's supposed to be there just in case you need it. But we have found in these stock cars, if it is paved, we will use it. And all of it and a little bit more. Like, we're seeing a lot of these guys dip off into the dirt. There's some decent traction as long as you stay right there on the edge, maybe just 2 tires out in the dirt. You're not going to get the car way out of shape. Everybody heading down to turn 1. Still, these two have driven away from everybody, but that battle from 4th to about, 7th, 8th right in there, I mean, they are just running right in a line there. You see Wadsworth, you see the 66, the 5, the 54. All these guys running right here together. One mistake, and you could lose a bunch of spots, which could be very pivotal to your playoffs.
Well, speaking of the playoffs, if you are one of the playoff guys that's not named Ethan Stanley or really Tyler Fody right now, this is the line you want to be in, because at the end of the day, these are probably the only positions you can go up and get. Maybe you can go up and get the 15, but realistically, they're all racing right now for 4th on back. So as long as you can keep Matthew Weeks and all those guys in that group in your line of sight, you've got a chance to make some points on some guys.
Yeah, and you see them all running right there in the line. Just nobody's really putting pressure on the guy in front of them. They're just running equal distance apart for the most part. I feel like this is trying to make speed, right? Like, you're trying to just make some decent lap time. If you're running the same distance behind that guy, you're using the same brake points, you're trusting him. Now, what would be interesting is if, say, the 66 made a mistake, would these other guys just, follow him right off into that mistake? If he overdrives a corner, as we take a look here at Dustin Dewar going around the 3, I believe this is a replay, so I believe this is going to be something happening down here. Oh, he's in there a little bit deep. He's going to be running through the dirt. Now, that's too much dirt. You don't want to get that far out there.
Yeah, and I'm sure coming down here, this corner right here, and then probably the final corner, he is probably still feeling that.
On here's series sponsor. Here's Mark. He's been posting some great pictures this week. Oh, down into 1. He's going to get sideways. I think he's just looking for a dirt track to run. That's Mark Larson right there, baby. And look at all those marbles everywhere. Look how dirty all that is right there.
Yeah, I don't really see a clean spot on that stretch except for right before the corner there. And that's where you want the clean spot, is right before the corner. When you're going to the brakes, you want to hope that you can have all that crud and whatnot ran off your tires by the time you have to start slowing down.
And here's Wadsworth, and Cutlip's going to try to follow him, but now Cutlip's on the outside. But this next corner is the one I'm talking about, where it's really getting dirty. I want you to watch how all these guys exit this corner. This is the slowest corner on the circuit, and you're going to have to go from a long straightaway all the way down, probably likely to first gear. Watch how all these guys exit. This is what makes the track get dirty. They're all going to come out of this corner, and I say that, and none of them are going out there and touching the grass. Well, Rexing did. Way to make me a liar. Every lap, they've all been running out there all the way to that grass. And this time, they all choose to shorten it up like they were listening to me or something.
Yeah, I was watching Ethan Stanley in practice, and like clockwork, every single time he was going out there and running through that dirt. And if Ethan's doing that, then it's probably pretty safe that that's what you got to do. And here at these road courses, you ought to use as much track as possible for qualifying, of course, without getting the 1X. But there's no track parameters, so as long as you're making lap time, you go and get all of it.
I'm gonna tell you, the one car there at the back of our shot going into that corner who's really struggling, I think he might be giving up some on the tires, and you see him, they're catching and passing him so fast that, his Kale's gonna run through the grass there a little bit. That 66 is really struggling right now. I don't know if he cooked his tires. I don't know what happened, but he is backed up big time.
Yeah, and that kink right there outside of the carousel, that's not the easiest place to run side by side. And you saw almost what happens every time you're side by side running through the kink is one car off in the grass. Cale was able to save it though.
Yeah, and the 66 is struggling so bad. I think that Cale just did not anticipate that he was going to drive all the way up on him. You see Rexy and Crump looking on right behind him, and then we got us a little gap behind those two. Back to Jesse and Seth and that group there.
As we're
yeah, look at that speed of 66. Oh, there we go. Wrecking behind him. Seth, the 70's around, the 12's around. He's going to blend back over there. Just talking about that group, and now they're going to be over there crashing just a little bit. Let's see. So Jesse's going to brake for the corner. Oh, the 12's in there real deep.
Yeah, I think he realized pretty early that he missed the corner, and he tried to get down as low as possible and stab the brake, and it just didn't work. Jesse was already turning in and didn't really expect for a bonsai car going to be on his right side when he turned into the corner.
I will say this though, the 12 looked like he was going to make the corner. I think the 12 maybe it was faster than those two. It doesn't look like he was going to miss the corner. Yeah, and that was early enough. I feel like they probably should have left him a lane. And that's just my opinion, but he was pretty far up there beside the 70 when the 70 and he made contact.
Well, yeah, but the 70's not expecting for a car that's 3 or 4 car lengths behind him with a car in between for that car to be trying to make a pass on him. Elwin, the 70's already in the braking zone. So I just think Jesse was pretty surprised by that 12 car showing up right there.
We got somebody else that's Gavin right there, running off on corner entry or corner exit of the carousel. Just spent some time out there. Just gasses up, gets loose, runs through the grass.
That's what we touched on pre-race just a little bit. The heating up the rear tires, and the rear tires aren't sticking around for these guys very long, and you kind of see it already there with Gavin.
Yeah, and we've got Ethan Burrell coming to pit road. He's going to pit before the stage. We'll see how that works out, because I think the pits will probably close next time by.
Yeah, the pits will close as soon as Ethan Stanley finishes his lap this time.
What Ethan Burrell would love right here is a caution. Like, he would love for a reason for a caution to come out. So he doesn't even have to get up to speed, really, on these tires. And the Layton's coming down. There's Stanley, enjoying his Sunday cruise. Okay, but that is one heck of a road course racer, and he's pretty good at the ovals, too. Using it all, though. I mean, he's not just sitting out there running at some kind of, 80%, 85%. He's still pitching the car. He's still driving hard. Ethan's one of those guys who wants to win, but he wants to beat you by a mile. He's like Mike Tyson out here in a road course. He heads for the kink. I mean, look at that, using it all. Every bit of it. Going to head to Canada Corner. I imagine he's going to be using it all coming out of there, too. Does he pit? Do you think he pits right here? I mean, he's got a big enough lead. He can run to the line, and, he's only going to have 2 people jump him at the stage.
Yes, we'll fix to see here. I think he knows he's quick enough. He doesn't really have to try anything crazy. No need to risk a speeding penalty or anything like that right here.
He's going to stay out and try to win the stage. Does Fody play the opposite game? Nope. And the pits will close right here, so nobody's going to get to the cone. So it's just Ethan Stanley and a Leighton Norgard, as far as I could tell. Somebody else from the back might have done it as well, but that has Ethan Barilla. Oh, my bad. Listen, I'm talking all kinds of crazy tonight.
Gotta get your Ethan
Right.
straight.
But Ethan Stanley is going to stay out here, likely win this stage, unless something just catastrophic happens. See Fody looking on. I almost wonder if Fody could have pitted right there and tried to put himself back in front of Stanley again, just to see if he could keep it for more than 2 corners. I wish I could run with some of the pace that Stanley has right now. It'd be nice to drive a car that fast around a road course.
Yeah, you and me both. Dave and I both need it for our ARCA race tomorrow at the Red Bull Ring.
Well, I don't think Stanley's allowed to show up for that one, right?
Correct.
Well, no, he's not, but...
We'll take his speed, is what we're saying.
Yeah, we'll take his speed for sure. Talking about that, we may be seeing our early favorite for that race tomorrow, Cale Pilcock, still running around in 9th right here. So he'll be out there running around in the ARCA Series tomorrow.
I'll tell you, the battle is on here just around 5th, around Justin Wadsworth. You got Cullip, you got Hunter Smith, Matthew Weeks just out in front of him. These guys know that points are about to be handed out, and they're trying to get them. Every point matters. Weeks has got a lot of speed tonight at a road course, and that's not something we see every time we go road course racing. Oh, Hunter's all 4 off back there in the dirt. They head down here, make a big right. Weeks drove away from this group a couple laps ago, and now they're kind of reining back down. I almost wonder if Weeks burned up the rears a little bit, and they're coming back to him. I'm going to tell you, Hunter's really fast. He's driving off the track down there. You know, we saw him drive all the way through the dirt with all 4 tires, but he's got some speed there in that 54, and his teammate sits up there in 3rd with some speed as well in Chad Frankenfield, so he might have picked up on a little bit of something. He tries to pass John Cutliff here with 1 lap to go in this stage.
Yeah, and with the stage outcome not going to be in jeopardy at all, we will be seeing the caution be thrown as soon as Ethan Stanley comes out of the final corner, so we can look forward to seeing that, just so they don't have to go around and run an entire lap catching the pace car. So that's one good thing we do here, especially with how long this track is.
And you know, you couldn't do that if it was in doubt up there, if they were racing each other, because you kind of got to let them go to the line. But Stanley's he's made that pretty easy to know that nobody's going to be able to pass him. And here goes Wadsworth underneath Weeks. Takes the look. Weeks not going to give it up too easy. Now he's got to come back to him. He lost about 4 car lengths trying to make that pass happen. I mean, you're thinking maybe Canada corner before he really gets an opportunity to try again if he nails this next section. They each exit pretty well. Wadsworth just a little bit better. They head for the kink. Hunter Smith is just going to pave a lane out there for himself. He's going to clear the grass in that lane all the way out there to the guardrail. They head for Canada corner. The caution's about to fall here very shortly. Hunter's maybe going to have one opportunity, maybe not, as Ethan exits the last corner. Stage over. Well, we will wait for everyone to cross the line before we start talking about the stage points, make sure everything's lined up. But Hunter Smith, man, those last 2 laps, he was not even trying not to run through the grass in that kink back there. So we got Stanley, we got Fody, we got Frankenfield, Weeks, Wadsworth, Cutlip, Smith, Tommy Ryan, Scott Crump, and Cale Pocock, the 10 drivers earning some stage points. So with that said, and with the cautions taking a while here, we're going to have a perfect opportunity to be able to throw it to a commercial, pay some bills, maybe even get in a word from Blue Egg while we're away. So stick with us, and we'll see you on the other side of this break.
3 years of sellout crowds, 3 years of edge-of-your-seat action, 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR, and now NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs are coming Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Just when you thought the racing couldn't get any more intense, now every single lap matters. One wrong move could be the difference between elimination and being crowned the king. The Enjoy Illinois 300, the Confluence Music Festival, the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs, and for the first time in 15 years, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday, September 6th. Don't be on the outside looking in. See history being made in your own backyard. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Since 2010, race fans have had one burning question. When will the Xfinity Series return to Worldwide Technology Raceway? You asked, NASCAR delivered. On Saturday, September 6, 2025, the magic is back. The track that launched the legendary careers of Harvick, Busch, Keselowski, Edwards, and Earnhardt Jr. is now ready to write that next chapter. We're going to introduce you to a new crop of future champions and Hall of Famers. And in the process, we'll create more of the greatest moments in racing history. NASCAR Weekend 2025, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs, the Confluence Music Festival, and now 250 miles of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. 2 incredible races, 1 challenging track, a 3-day party of epic proportions. Go to www.raceway.com and lock in your weekend racing and camping packages for as little as $20 down.
They walk among us, but at 240 miles per hour, they become something more. They're thrill seekers, risk takers, and maybe just a little bit unhinged. Buckle up. This new era of speed, this racing revolution, it's just getting started.
To win the Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading a brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. Fueling big to win big. Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. Ooh, ooh, big. You're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. Ooh, win big.
And welcome back here to Road America, where we get ready to have this restart. You heard a little bit from our sponsors, everybody at Blue Egg Marketing, Worldwide Technology Raceway. Always fun to get to talk about them and what they've got going on. And of course, tonight's race is in memory of Josh and Becky Mann, who tragically passed last week. They were pillars of the community in Taylor County, Wisconsin. The community is raising money for their 4 children facing a future without the guidance of their parents far sooner than they had ever thought. You can find the link to the GoFundMe in the YouTube description. We did have two guys stay out right here. We have Ethan Burrell and a late Norgard out here. We saw them pit a couple laps before the end of the stage. What are you guys thinking here? What are you thinking here, Jake, specifically with this restart? We know that tire fall off is a big deal. They've got probably 10 good miles on their tires. They're running pretty decently hard. Do you think they'll be able to stay out front here for any length of time?
Well, I think the first line of business is to get out of the 91's way as soon as possible, and then kind of just try and hold a spot inside the top 5 somewhere is what I would be trying to do if this were me.
And that pit window will open up here pretty quick. We are about 6 or 8 laps outside of making it all the way. They can run about 18 laps on fuel. You're going to want to get kind of safely inside that just in case there's a green-white checker. But they come down. Green is out. Great jump there for Burrell. He's going to get away. Stanley's already looking at a late Norgard here, trying to make this pass happen. Bodie's going to get stuck out here. He might be in a little bit of trouble. They head down for turn 1. Really fanned out. 3 wide there in the mid-pack. And contact between Rexing and Smith. I think everybody's going to survive.
Yeah, I believe they all saved it.
They head down for turn number 2. A little bit more aggressive here for most of the field on this restart. We didn't see that aggression on the initial start, but on the restart, these boys were on it, ready to go.
Yeah, I think that the first start of the race, everybody knew there was another restart coming.
And lead change right there at the top of the screen. Ethan Stanley gets around Ethan Burrell. No fight whatsoever. Ethan on Ethan, and now Ethan Stanley's probably going to give the goodbye unless there's a caution.
Yep, and Ethan Burrell, he's doing exactly what I assumed he would try and do.
Trump's around. Seth Rawls is around. They're both wrecking. Rawls is getting spun. I believe it was Hunter Smith tried to dive in 3 wide. Contact between all 3. And Seth Rawls pays the price. Here you see Hunter Smith being really aggressive. Dives in. Contact is made. And now see, I think what happened here is Hunter was picked off about the first turn, right? He was the guy that got dove on 3 wide. And I don't even think it was by any of these guys. It might have been. We'll have to go back and check the replay to see. It might have been Seth Rawls that dove in 3 wide on him. I'm not sure, but I don't think so. And so then they get over here, and it's 2 miles later, half a track later, and he dives in. Yeah, it wasn't Seth Rawls that he even got dove from. I believe it's going to be the 10. So he's mad about this first corner. Oh, it might be Seth. Seth's going to have a hole here. Let's see how this shakes out. They get down here to turn 1. It was the 10. Rexing gets in there pretty deep. Gets into the back of the 54. He lets him save it. And the 54's around out here off the 12. The 56 is involved. Tate Lytle, Hunter Smith. I'll tell you what, Hunter Smith is not having a good start to stage 2. And he and Tate are going to bounce off each other some more. And the 41's involved. Big wreck here. This might be the caution. Yeah, this is definitely going to be the caution. We're definitely getting a caution for this. Holy smokes. Cars everywhere. Hunter Smith was having such a good run. And I feel like Tate kind of went back at him there. Maybe a little bit frustrated. They hang together. Frank's in there. The 20's in there. Here comes Labonte. Here comes the 3, the 70. Everybody. Huge accident. Big damage. Some of these guys hit hard. Got up in the air. And now Hunter Smith is not going to get the finish that he thought he could get based on that first run there, as he was contacting turn 1, contact down there, turn maybe 8 or so. Come back to turn 1, more contact. The final nail in the coffin was turn 2 there. It did it in. We're going to have a ton of guys fixing a ton of damage here. There you see the 3 come in really late, really hard. Here you see the 3. Jeff comes out of here, sees the smoke, but just you can't stop. A ton of damage to the 3. It looks pretty broke. So we have had a major pack accident out here. It looked like the wreck we saw with Noah Gregson and about half the field at Road America a couple years back. And Ethan Stanley was all ready to give the goodbye. And now he's going to have to sit there behind the pace car. And now this also, I mean, we're talking about fuel numbers being about 18 laps. Do you pit when it's open? I don't think it's open yet. I think the 3's pitting early because all these guys have some kind of major damage from the accident. So they're trying to get in and get their damage fixed. You can give up 1 lap by pitting right here, and you can get 8 minutes of damage fixed around this place. So we shall see who can get what fixed. But a lot of these cars that maybe would be out of the race other weeks because the damage is 6 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever it might be, and that would put you like 7, 8, 9 laps down. Well, you could lose 1 lap here and fix 6 or 8 minutes of damage. So as destroyed as some of these cars are, they might be okay once we get going again. But what we will do under the caution is, I guess we'll get in another ad break here. We'll see what everybody chooses to do under this caution with pit stops trying to stretch the fuel, but this race just might have changed a whole lot here because I think we're going to have a split decision. So stick with us here on the other side of this break. We will see the run to the end.
3 years of sellout crowds, 3 years of edge-of-your-seat action, 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR, and now NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs are coming Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Just when you thought the racing couldn't get any more intense, now every single lap matters. One wrong move could be the difference between elimination and being crowned the king. The Enjoy Illinois 300, the Confluence Music Festival, the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs, and for the first time in 15 years, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday, September 6th. Don't be on the outside looking in. See history being made in your own backyard. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back here to Road America, where we have the split decision. As guys have pitted, we will see what they do here as we're going to watch. I'm looking at Ethan Stanley right here, seeing if it's fuel only, if it's going to be tires. Chad Frankenfield's getting tires. Fuel only for Stanley, fuel only for Fody, fuel only for most of the field is getting fuel only here. Chad Frankenfield is going to get tires. And then after Chad, it's quite the way back to the next guy on tires, I believe. But nonetheless, we do have this group has stayed out. The 11, the 12, the 60, the 70, and Mark have stayed out. We're going to have 5 guys restart out in front here who are saying we're not going to make it on fuel. But one thing that's different here, the first run was shortened. The caution was shortened by 1 lap because there was nobody with damage, but with people having damage, there's not an agreement to shorten the caution. So these guys are going to get another lap of caution. We got 2 laps of caution still to run. It's going to be probably 8 minutes or so before we go back to green. And they're going to be able to save a lot of fuel. I think they're going to make it relatively easy without having to do any kind of fuel save on the run here.
Yeah, we'll see who everybody is that's thinking about that and trying to save a little bit on the other end.
And I believe you have a tally to break down for that last caution and the whole incident there.
Yeah, we gave the tally to Hunter Smith. He basically self-spun in turn 1 and stacked up the field in turn 1, and then from there, him and Tate got hooked together, and ultimately it was the 54's mistake in turn 1 that caused the caution in turn 2. So tally for a caution caused to the 54.
Yeah, we'll see how it shakes out here, but I'm pretty excited about Mark getting up here, and Jesse, we saw him involved in some skirmishes there. Kale stayed out. Leighton, we saw him down there getting involved in a little bit of something on that. So this is not as many stayed out as I thought would stay out, but we shall see how this is going to work out. I definitely don't think Stanley will be able to get back to the lead in turn 1 or turn 2. But I don't think they'll be able to keep him back there for long unless... I mean, this is where it could all go away. For a guy who's been the dominant car today, it could very easily slip away. He can't win the race right here on this restart.
Yeah, we every time any of the Elite Series come to a road course, we hit on all the time how fast just the raw speed Ethan Stanley has. Well, now that he is caught back in a little bit of traffic, we're going to find out how much patience he's got to be able to come back and make up some of these positions and not feel like he's got to get it all at once, because obviously he has the pace to get it done over a few laps if he needs to.
And Mark bails. Mark has pitted here, so that's going to move Stanley up to the second row. But he has eliminated any fuel concerns running that 1 extra lap, which I think everybody who pitted that first time. One thing to talk about here. Chad Frankenfield got tires. He's the first guy on tires. The next guy on tires behind him is Ethan Burrell. And then I believe everybody Ethan back has gotten tires right here. I understand that was only a lap or two, but with the tire fall off, a lap or two is going to make a difference. You got to be smart, but I think if it runs green, the fresher tires will allow them to drive their way back up to the top 7 or 8. I don't think they're going to get to the lead. One thing that's interesting here, I look here, and a Leighton, probably his best hope tonight was around 10th to 15th. Kale's best hope, right in that neck of the woods as well. Jesse, he's been having a rough night. This is a chance to do something different. Weeks is a guy who was running right around the top 5. He's a guy, that if things fell just right later in this race, he might have been able to steal one. And now he's put himself on this strategy where I think with this lap of caution, I think everybody's going to have enough unless there's a green, white checkered. So I am very surprised that Weeks has put himself in this position. But I believe he won last week, right? If I remember correct.
Yes.
So he can take the risk. It's not going to burn him, but I'm very surprised to see him play the strategy.
Yeah, you mentioned Matthew with a chance to come up and steal one. He usually is a guy that we see show up pretty late in some of these races and just be there at the end. And he's the guy you got to deal with. Mentioned he was running 4th or 5th place before the stage and all the cautions and whatnot. So he was really kind of the first guy, with the better pace, not the Ethan Stanley pace. So we'll see what he's got here with a clean track.
And he's not at a tire disadvantage to any of these guys, but we know Weeks can't run to the end. You're not making 22 laps on fuel. You're not. And you might say 22 to 18, that's only 4 laps. These guys can save 4 laps. Well, we're talking about a track that's 4 miles long here. When we're talking 4 laps, we're talking in the neighborhood of 16 to 20 miles of fuel that he's got to stretch. And keep pace while he's doing it to try to win. Just isn't, that math don't move. Maybe he's making, more cautions, What would you say, Jake? 3 cautions? If we're able to get 3 cautions, so he's gotten 1, maybe 2 more, then you start talking about maybe saving the fuel under this yellow if they're, we get another caution here real quick and then another one.
Yeah, definitely. How, especially if guys want to get the damage fixed and you do get the extra lap of yellow to save, then I would think you might be okay if we get another 1, possibly 2 yellows.
So maybe that's the strategy. The pace car pulls off. We saw a Leighton restart on the outside of the front row last time, and he didn't get a good launch. They head down here. Green is out. A Leighton once again, not a great launch. But the 60 didn't launch very good either. 91 didn't get a good launch himself. They head down here for turn 1. Everybody trying to sneak their way through. It looks to be cleaner than the last restart. Chad trying to make quick work there on his new tires. Oh, contact, the 70, the 60 right in front of Stanley. Stanley has to drive off the course a little bit. Still has 2 out there. Now Stanley's on the top of 3 wide. Heading down here for this corner. Something's got to give. It's going to be the 60. He lifts, backs out. The 70 plays a little bumper tag with the 40. They try to snake their way through here.
Yeah, so that definitely wasn't a position that Ethan wanted to see himself in. 3 wide going into that corner, especially being on the outside of the corner. He was going to be the first guy shoved off of the corner if it didn't all go right.
And you take back. Oh, Dustin Dewar nearly around. Chad Frankenfield being super aggressive on his tires. He's going to make contact with Scott. And Chad's going to be
saved it.
Everybody, Jared Rexing. Oh, we're going to have another wreck down here. Big wreck down here in the carousel corner. And we have another caution. And now we've got to start discussing, does Matthew Weeks make this on fuel? You know, I think he still needs one more caution, but... Oh, and it's great right now. I only wish you guys could hear it. As you see the replay, the 15 dives in, gets into the 90. The 90 gets back into the 15. Everything's good here, but Rexing, that was not a good move by Rexing. I don't think they were going to wreck, and then Rexing decided instead of checking up, I'm just going to drive through the grass and blend back. I'm not sure as a playoff guy you want to be making that kind of move. As you see here, the 15's on his tires. He's the first guy on tires. That was, we documented that. So he's trying to be really aggressive. The 90's trying to follow the 6 through this pass on the 5. I mean, Chad is in there, but the 90's in there on the 5. Tell you what, John Cutlip, super lucky right here. They make contact, then they get hung together. I'm sure the 90 wasn't doing a whole lot to get away from being hung together, but they did get hung together. But then they straighten each other back out, and everything's fine. At this point, everything's fine. And then Jared Rexing, instead of checking up, just choose to... I mean, there's no... there's a wall there, and he chooses to run out there, and then he blends back and just... I don't know what Jared Rexing is thinking right there. That... Check up, I don't know. I don't understand that at all. But everybody else does a pretty good job getting around him. Some of these guys did get involved down here in the carousel corner. We're going to ride on board with Scott Crump. Tell you what, John Cutlip's so lucky. And you see here, Scott not trying to turn away from him after they've already wrecked. But, I mean, we're talking about these two. And then you just see them get clobbered here by the 10. And then the 25, I believe, hit pretty hard. I believe that's who that is, Seth Rawls. Can we ride on board with Rexing through this? I'd like to see what he saw and see if there was any kind of reason why we chose to not check up. Okay, you see the smoke. You see all this going on. I mean, I don't think he checked up at all. I don't understand that right there. I get that you're probably thinking the caution's coming. You're trying to get all the spots you can. But that is not smart right there out of Rexing. I mean, just choosing to drive off the course and then force himself through there. Weeks sitting out front. Now you've made this bed. We'll see what happens here as they come to pit road. If they don't come to pit road, if he doesn't come to pit road, he's thinking he's making it. They're coming. Here we go. They're feeling better about making it from here than from 18 to go, apparently. Cutlip's coming back. He's probably getting tires. This is really going to be interesting, bolting on your last set of tires. But what we will do, we still have 2 laps of yellow. So we are going to throw it to another commercial break tonight. We'll start getting them in for next week tonight, maybe. We'll see if Dave can agree to that. Go maybe a little bit of caution-free or commercial-free next week. But we'll get another one in tonight, and maybe even another word from Blue Egg Marketing, as we'll have quite the extensive caution here once again. So stick with us, and we'll be here on the other side of the break.
To win the Blue Egg, you're always in the pole position, leading a brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. Fueling big to win big. Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. Ooh, ooh, big. To win big, you're always in the pole position, leading your brand toward victory lane. Don't spin your wheels, accelerate success with Blue Egg, fueling small businesses to win big. Ooh, win big.
3 years of sellout crowds, 3 years of edge-of-your-seat action, 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR, and now NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs are coming Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Just when you thought the racing couldn't get any more intense, now every single lap matters. One wrong move could be the difference between elimination and being crowned the king. The Enjoy Illinois 300, the Confluence Music Festival, the NASCAR Cup Series Playoffs, and for the first time in 15 years, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday, September 6th. Don't be on the outside looking in. See history being made in your own backyard. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Since 2010, race fans have had one burning question. When will the Xfinity Series return to Worldwide Technology Raceway? You asked, NASCAR delivered. On Saturday, September 6, 2025, the magic is back. The track that launched the legendary careers of Harvick, Busch, Keselowski, Edwards, and Earnhardt Jr. is now ready to write that next chapter. We're going to introduce you to a new crop of future champions and Hall of Famers. And in the process, we'll create more of the greatest moments in racing history. NASCAR Weekend 2025, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs, the Confluence Music Festival, and now 250 miles of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. 2 incredible races, 1 challenging track, a 3-day party of epic proportions. Go to www.raceway.com and lock in your weekend racing and camping packages for as little as...
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
And welcome back to the Elite Racing Network, where we have found quite the chaos tonight at Road America. Tonight's race is in memory of Josh and Becky Mann, who tragically passed last week. They were pillars of the community in Taylor County, Wisconsin, and the community is raising money for their 4 children facing a future without the guidance of their parents far sooner than they ever thought. You can find the link to the GoFundMe in the YouTube description. And we just wrapped up, we are in the process of wrapping up. We're, a minute or so here away from going green, maybe a little bit less. Jake, did you have to give any tallies there to anybody, or was that just a racing deal out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, it was close. The deal with Chad and Scott. Chad got in there. He was going to make the corner. I know the other party didn't feel like he was, but felt like he made the corner pretty well. And then they just kind of got stuck together and kind of ended up not really turned until the 10 came out of the grass. Without seeing braking and all that from the 10, I can't really say that he never tried to lift, but it really wasn't going to go up until he came out of the grass there. But yeah, no, racing deal all around.
Well, all right, we are getting ready to go green. The field is back in the hands of Ethan Stanley, as he stayed out there knowing that everybody who's pitted now, everybody's going to make it to the end. The only thing of note is Weeks is going to restart 12th on fresh tires. Ethan Burrell is up to 5th, and he got tires a couple cautions ago. You see Stanley get away here out in front of Tyler Fody. Here comes Kale. All of a sudden, these Lake Norman guys, we see it on the ovals. Now we're seeing it here. Wadsworth creeping up to 3rd on the outside of that 60. Everybody getting through turn 1. Looks like relatively clean. Heading down for turn number 2.
They do show Pocock did not pit.
So maybe Kale's out here still thinking we're going to get one more caution.
Going to be interesting to see. We've seen Tyler be the only car that's able to keep it relatively close to Stanley. Does he try and take one big dive here in one of these corners and try and at least get alongside Ethan and try and keep him honest that way, as we're coming around about 13 laps to go this time?
Yeah, and 13 laps might be getting ready for the checker flag at some of these tracks. 13 laps at Bristol would take you just a couple minutes. 13 laps around here, and I know we've been harping on it all night, but 13 laps around here will take you quite a while. Taking a look back through the field here, as you see all these guys. Scott Crump still has good track position, even though he was part of that last incident. Of course, his car is it's been in on most of the corners, but he's got some good track position still yet. Looks like he's still got some decent pace in that car. Jared Rexon right behind him, part of that last wreck, still got his track position as well. They all come out of the kink, head for Canada corner. Any big dives? Looks like Joe thought about it. Is that Tate back there taking a dive? Trying to get some of his track position. And in the commercial break for the stage, we talked about Tate and we talked about Joe. And then Tate went and got caught up in that wreck, but Joe has kept his track position here inside the top 10, racing with Scott Crump right now. For, I believe that is 9th. They both started at the very back of the field, and I mean, Joe's been able to keep himself pretty clean tonight, and he's cracking this top 10. Going to try to get some good race points here and not give up a shot at the title tonight. And Tate got involved in that wreck, but he's still back there trying to recover from being in that accident. And it looks like Scott might be hurt just a little bit. He's got all these guys behind him, including Rexing in the 10. We saw Joe make the pass. Now here they come, and one thing that's going to be hurting Scott is tires are not far behind him with Weeks, and everybody behind Weeks pretty much has tires from this last yellow. Looks like something happened to Josh Labonte here somewhere.
Yeah, I was just keeping an eye on a couple of things. Mark just left us. Mark spun out in the final corner this past lap. Josh spins out in turn 2.
And nobody is going to confuse Josh with being a good road racer. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, we're getting to see Josh run tail end of the pack here tonight. Tune in.
But he's done that at a lot of ovals too. Like, it's not been a great season for Josh.
Yeah, we've got that right. Tune into our coverage to the ARCA race tomorrow. You get to see me probably run out of the back of the pack. So I mean, it runs in the blood.
Hey, I could use some company.
Yep, I'll be right back there with you.
I'm gonna tell you right. You guys are running 1-2 tomorrow. Mark it down.
Only if you're counting from the back.
As you see, Josh is going around again.
I think he's got bigger problems.
Yep, Mr. Labonte has parked it this time.
Oh.
Ooh, that's the tire. That's almost what happened to Jared Rexing earlier.
He's smoking.
That might have been the typical Josh Adams. I've had it with the road course racing intentional tire pack there. It made sure there were no other cars around first, and then I know he's known to pack into a tire pack whenever he's done with the race. So that might have been what that was there.
He made it 22 laps tonight. That's way further than I thought. Oh, Frank Fody, Tate Lytle get together into turn 1. Tate trying to be aggressive, dig hard, get some of these spots back on his tires. Here comes Chad. He's going to take the dive underneath Frank. These boys taking advantage of Frank back here. Frank might not like that. We'll see what happens down here into this left-hander. Does Chad do a little swap on him here? Do they swap lanes? Nope. Chad's going to drive down in there pretty hard. So does Frank. No give there. Chad runs off the course trying to gain one spot. He's going to give up a couple. Maybe. We'll see how he hangs on the outside here of a Leighton. Now he's going to be on the inside the next corner. He's going to make that pass. Gavin's trying to come through, but he was up there beside Frank trying to take that spot, and Frank put up the fight there. So what, that track is dirty right there through that section that they just went through. And Cullif's running offline. That has got to be sketchy there. Got Weeks coming in his mirror. I'm a little bit surprised Weeks hasn't made better progress on his new tires, because we saw Ethan Burrell on tires really get through this field up to 4th. Now, I don't think he has he doesn't have the pace to be able to pass those top 3, so I think 4th is probably his ceiling. But I'm surprised that Weeks hasn't made better. Oh, Rexing runs off right in front of Weeks.
I think he got surprised a little bit by Cutlip there. Cutlip got in there a little late. And I don't think Jared was ready for it.
And now these guys on tires, just, once one passes you, I think that's what you're seeing here. They've all got tires. The 10 doesn't. Tate Lytle, does he think about 3 wide right here? Or does he just follow the 70? Let's see. He's thinking about it. He's pulled a half a car lane out. He's just going to push. Just going to push. 3 wide would have been pretty aggressive, but heading down for turn 1. Chad got around Frank there in the last corner. Now Chad sets his sights up there on that 10 car.
Yeah, I think that was a move there by Tate, knowing that I've got the pace to go and pass both of you. So I don't need to make this pass right now because I can probably make it in 2 or 3 corners.
Oh, Harrison's around back here in turn 2, driving out of the dirt.
And I would expect Tate to pull left here probably.
Oh, that could have been vicious. Luckily, there's a ton of room over there and a sand trap to keep him from going out there. Oh, Rexing trying to go back after Tate. They bounce off each other. And that's going to open the door for Chad. I think Tate got held up behind the 70, and the 10 tried to jump back on it, and instead it's going to be the 15. I'll tell you what, this is about as physical of a road course race I have seen here in Elite. Like, these guys are not afraid to bounce off each other. Not afraid to run into some stuff. Not afraid to run through any of this grass. This is, it's been quite the crazy night, and we're coming to 10 to go. As we take a look here at the 24. Michael gets down in there a little deep, spins it out. Trying to find his inner Jeff Gordon at a road course, and he just can't quite find it. Can't quite put his finger on what Jeff was able to do in that 24.
We saw Tate got by the 70. So that was the position that he set up the lap before, coming down the front straightaway when he pushed Jesse down the front straightaway.
So I got a question for you, Jake, as we take 10 to go here, and Ethan's giving the old goodbye up there. Have we seen our last caution of the race?
Yeah, I believe with looking through here, there's plenty of gap between just about every car out here that if there is any contact, I think it should be settled up by the time that next pot of cars kind of gets to you. So as you see right there in our shot, there's about 3 or 4 cars in every little group there, and you'd almost have to arc a brake to bring out a yellow now with what we got now.
And a couple things I want to talk about. Nobody's surprised about Stanley being up here. Fody obviously has had his best road course race, I think, in quite a while. I think it's a pretty good road course race for him. Joe Francis, Jonathan Cutlip, little contact down into this corner, but Wadsworth up there, all these guys learning from Fody. Then you got Ethan Burrell, who played the strategy, who was part of that group that I feel like could have ran anywhere from 5th to 8th. And he chose to come and get tires after everybody else, and he's going to put him at the front of that group now, being in 4th. Tommy Ryan right there in 5th. Dylan right there in 6th. Great run tonight for Dylan. No surprise, though, because anybody who has been watching the sports car series and watched him on a road course, he definitely knows how to go left and right. Definitely tell that's a little bit more of his style of racing. Done a great job right there. Kale, that's one that we got to watch here as the laps wind down. We feel like 3 cautions probably makes you safe. 2 makes it close. We had 2. He has not pitted since the stage. He's running in 7th. The possibility that he runs out of gas is, I would give it greater than a 50% chance if there's no other caution that 50 runs out of gas, or 60, runs out of gas. You got Crump there in 8th, Joe Francis 9th, Cutlip 10th. And Weeks actually just passed Cutlip, then ran off the course, and he's going to get passed by Cutlip and the 56 of Tate Lytle. All this going on in Pro Edge land, really. I mean, that's 3 Pro Edge guys. You got Chad right there recovering from a lot of issues tonight. We saw him have top 5 pace early in the race. Just passed Jesse this lap. We got Jared back there on the backslide. Everybody else running's got a little bit fresher tires. Jared's got a little bit of damage. Got a Leighton right back there. Then you get into Frank and Gavin, David Carpenter, Dustin Dewar holding on to a top 20. All these guys here just trying to survive, see what chaos breaks.
Yeah, just shout out to David Carpenter back there. He picked up a top 5 at Talladega last week in the ARCA series.
And I believe as far as playoff guys go, Seth Rollins is having the worst night, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe so. He was sitting on pit road for a long time. I believe he's a couple laps down here after fixing some damage.
He will get the lucky dog if there's another caution, but he's going to need 2 more cautions, really, and I just don't see that scenario working out too good for him. But sitting 26th, so he is going to go into next week needing to make some things happen.
So this is our tightest battle on the track. We just saw these guys just about 3 wide on the last shot. 57's going to go off course and give Kale a chance to go around us outside in the carousel. Just doesn't have the grip out there to stay alongside him. He's going to try and shoot back and cross over. It's not easy to be side by side here in this kink. It's a little bit of contact.
And I think Dylan just found out the hard way what happens if you go through that offline. Now he's got Scott Crump. In the corner, he gives way to Scott Crump. But yeah, I mean, talking about the playoff guys a little bit here, you know, Seth is back there, and I don't believe Seth had a great run last week. So he might be putting all his eggs in the basket of having to win next week. But all the rest of the playoff guys, you know, you got a Leighton, Jared right there, 15th and 16th, not having great runs, but I mean, they're probably going to think it's miserable, but it's not as bad as it could be when you talk about being 10 spots ahead of Seth. And you got some other guy, you know, you got Matthew Weeks who won last week, so his run really isn't going to change a whole lot. Tate Lytle right there in 11th, cut lip, looking underneath Joe Francis. You see Dylan out in front of him. This whole group, this could determine the guys who move on here in this round of the playoffs, what happens in this group from, let's just say, Scott Crump, Kale right there, that's 6th, 7th, all the way back to about 12th, 13th there.
I think if there is one silver, sort of silver lining for Seth here, to have this night is that, you know, it is a road course. Got a little bit less participation than normal, so it could be worse. He could be sitting, you know, 2 laps down on 40th place any other track, but with it being the road course and not as many people want to come out, he is 26th, though not losing as much as he possibly could have anywhere else.
I do think after his run last week and his run tonight, he's about put himself into a spot where I feel like he's got to go in the next week thinking, I got to win the race. You know, I think he's going to have to try to win to advance.
Yeah, and if we remember at all back to our regular season finale at Daytona and just how stressful that was for the guys on the track, us up in the booth calling the points and everything, and just trying to keep track of everything. Well, we've got a playoff cut round at Talladega next week. So, you know, saying a guy's got to go and win in a playoff cut round at Talladega, and that just adds to the
I'm going to tell you who's struggling right here.
nerves.
John Cutlip has just ran off the course a little bit. He was up there trying to get Joe Francis. Now he's given up a spot to the 56. He's given up a spot to the 11, and they might be teammates, but all of a sudden, John has found his way to the back of this line. We know Chad's coming on his newer tires. The 70s back there went back around Chad as well. Like, all these guys have newer tires than, you know what, I'm not sure if they're newer than, I think John might have came down and pitted at the same time, but nonetheless.
Chad got off in the gravel there. Was that Canada corner there. So he lost a position or two doing that.
And there is, you know, we'll talk about him one more time tonight. We've talked about him a little bit already. Michael Goodman, you know, he's not going to get confused with the road racer either. You know, nobody can confuse him with being stellar on these type of racetracks, but nonetheless, he's out here running 25th, way back here. And he is just trying to show off his scheme. His car is really clean. He's done a great job. Of course, he is driving tonight in memory of Josh and Becky Mann. They are our race sponsor tonight. And like we've mentioned several times now, the GoFundMe is down in the YouTube description. They unfortunately lost their lives here this last week, and Goody's going to run off into the grass there a little bit. But he hasn't hit nothing. And so racing for a cause tonight is Goody, and we've been talking about him and our race sponsor tonight, of course, but you can't talk about Goody without talking about Mrs. Goody and Mrs. Goody's Goodies and all those handmade items that she has and she makes. So check her out on Facebook, and maybe that's why Goody's running so far back. He's trying to buy some stuff from Mrs. Goody's Goodies on there on his phone while he's driving. But moving back to the front here, 3 seconds now is the lead. Well, as we take a look here at Seth, I believe he did. Seth just asked for confirmation that those guys were going to run to the end. And he was told, yes, they're running to the end. Oh, Matthew Weeks head on in the wall down here. Oh, he is going to get turned around. I don't think we're going to get a caution. Oh, Weeks is destroyed. There you see, Weeks takes the dive. And then they just, I couldn't tell from that angle whose fault that was.
Looked like
But
Francis got
nonetheless,
loose a little bit.
Let's see if we can take another look at it here and see what they do down the straightaway.
Yeah, it looked like to me like Joe just got a little loose getting back to the gas through all that gravel and stuff right there, and they were already side by side, and
Yep, running through that offline. We've talked about how dirty it is. The rear tire is having trouble hooking up, and I'll tell you, Weeks is frustrated. He is mad, and he should be.
At least he's
But that win last week, that's going to be great now for him because, he can give up those points. He's the one guy out here who can afford to give that up because he's already got a win in the bank, and he knows he's moving on to the next round. If he didn't know that and he didn't have that win last week, I think Weeks would be he'd be way hotter than what he is.
yeah, Joe's still struggling to get those rear tires to hook up. He's just lost another spot to Chad here. He's about to under fire from Jesse.
But Jesse's already passed him. Now he's got Jared. So yeah, I just think he just killed his rear tires, and unfortunately Weeks paid the price. And I'm going to tell you, I thought Weeks was pretty destroyed. He lost all those spots, but I'm going to tell you right now, he's not that far behind Joe, and the way Joe is struggling, I don't know what kind of pace Weeks still has. But they could come back together with each other here for the end of this thing. Oh, Dylan's off the course. Gets back going right there beside Joe. And Joe's going to get around. Here comes Rexing. Dylan. Oh, Joe really sideways there out of that last corner. Look at him trying to defend a little bit. I think Jared's got the run, though. He's got the momentum. I don't think there's anything left on those rear tires for Joe Francis. They head down here into turn one. Joe, they're all sliding out. None of them really made the corner like they wanted to. Layton looked like he got pretty good drive off over top of everybody else there. Layton gets pretty poor drive off of turn number 2. Now, if you're struggling with rear grip, right down here, these next two left-handers are really where it's going to show. It's going to be really hard to get up out of this corner in first gear if rear grip is gone, and we'll see. Oh, yeah, look at Joe there, really using all that racetrack. Jared drives right to his back bumper. He'll struggle down here again, more than likely.
And it might look like Joe's, driving around kind of just in the way, and and not letting people go when he's kind of struggling, but he's doing what he's got to do. You see playoff banners on both of those cars behind him. It's like those are two guys he definitely wants to keep behind him. Knowing here just a couple laps to go, that's just a couple points in his pocket.
I got to tell you, tonight has been a great road course race. We've had maybe one or two more cautions than we would like, but the racing out here at Road America has been fantastic tonight. And John Cutlip gave up 2 spots here this lap to Chad and to Jesse. So some of our playoff guys have cooked the tires, and you see Weeks back there as well, making a pass on Dylan. He's going to get some of these spots back. I'm still very surprised that Weeks couldn't make more progress on his tires than what he did. We are coming to 3 laps to go. One thing to keep an eye on, that's could maybe give everybody a spot here at the end is, does Cale make the fuel? Did he do a good enough job saving under those yellows to be able to make it on fuel? And is he saving right now? Like, could he be sitting out here saving? He could be saving, but we shall see. Based on this right here, it doesn't look like he's saving a whole lot of fuel to me.
Yeah, I think if he was going to be short, we probably would have already seen him come to pit road. And, knowing that you're more than likely not going to get a caution to save you.
Ethan Stanley has stretched his lead out to over 6 seconds. It's 11-8 to Wadsworth, 15-5 to Ethan Burrell. Tommy Ryan about a second behind him. A late Norgard is spinning. He saves it. What a catch. And that's going to give Weeks that spot back. Yeah, there you see. I thought a Leighton was going around for sure. Gets sideways down here, smokes the tires, gets her back straight. Just gives up a spot to Weeks. I'm kind of rooting for Weeks to get back up there around Joe to see what happens. We're like the old TNT days, man. We want the drama. We want all the smoke over here.
Yeah, but then we've seen it already. You kind of gotta be smart when you come around to that kind of situation, and you don't want to, sit yourself out of the playoffs.
Well, just 2 laps to go here at Road America. 2 laps away from Ethan Stanley winning another road course race here.
And if anybody was with us for our coverage of Nashville Super Speedway last week, I called this a week ago. A week ago today.
Now, Brooke, let's not act like you were stepping out on some kind of a limb right there,
And we thought you were crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
that's like saying Jeff Gordon's going to win a road course in 1999. I mean,
I went way out on a limb to pick that. I mean, it's just, it's almost like I looked in a crystal ball.
He'll be sitting pretty on all the money you bet on it.
I don't know. I don't think that the books would have let him make a whole lot of money betting on Ethan Stanley to win.
1 to 3 odds.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Yeah, there would have been probably some negative odds is what they would have been. It wouldn't have been great. The 66 just said something here. I don't know what happened. Maybe he ran off the course just a little bit. Not sure. It looks fine to me as he's trying to chase down the 37. Chad Frankenfield out here, back in the top 10. He's right behind Cale. I'm going to tell you what, Joe Francis and Matthew Weeks, they're right behind this group, and they are getting closer and closer together. Joe's really struggling. Matthew was turned head on into the wall and has more pace than what Joe has. They got Jared Rexing between them. Do you think Jared knows the situation right here? Do you think he knows what he is separating?
I'm sure he probably does, but he also knows that he's got to go out there and race for himself. Maybe he does just let the 11 go and
Well, I don't
see
think
if,
so. Jared and Joe are teammates. They are teammates. Maybe he sits there the whole lap and tries his best to play referee, not to let Joe lose these points. If Matthew were wanting to do something. The leader has taken the white flag, but there's nobody up there close to him. As you can see, he's already waving to all his fans out here and all the Blue Egg people. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Blue Egg Marketing, they are the marketing department for small business owners.
Big.
And, that's right, and big. Ethan started as a small business owner, but now he owns all these road courses that he goes to for the most part. Moved up in the world. Look at that, just making a smooth. We see all these other guys just struggling to stay on the racetrack, struggling to race around each other. I feel like Ethan's in there, just laid back, one hand on the wheel, the other one sitting up on the dash. Not even breaking a sweat.
You know who we haven't talked about at all night?
Who's that? Tyler Fody? We talked about him a little bit. He led first corner and a half.
Yeah, that's it. Since then, he's just sitting in second. So,
I mean, if he wants us to talk about him, he's got to get up there and get a little better. Got to get up there and race his teammate. You can't run 7 seconds behind the guy that's kicking your can out here and expect to be talked about.
got a 6-second lead on third. Who's got a 7-second lead on fourth?
Yeah, what's that Ricky Bobby quote? If you ain't first, you're last. So Fody might as well be last right here.
So Matthew Weeks has gotten around Jared Rexing, and now there's nobody separating him in the 55.
Yeah, but there's quite a gap.
Just a little bit of room on the racetrack.
Now, speaking from experience, down at Canada Corner, this gap could be closed up if Weeks wanted to. That's all I'm saying. Ethan Stanley takes the checkered flag. It's all over. Here comes Fody to finish second. Wadsworth going to come through here, finish third. Ethan Burrell going to hold off this late charge from Tommy Ryan. Tate Lytle all the way to sixth after starting shotgun on the field. Right in front of Scott Crump. Here comes Cale. The fuel holds out for Cale. Chad Frankenfield, Jesse Racimas going to come through 10th. Oh, no, excuse me. Jesse Racimas lost 10th to Jonathan Cutler there at the end. Joe Francis going to get 12th. Weeks giving it the goodbye down here into turn 1. Finishes 13th. Rexing's going to get 14th. A late Norgard back there. Dylan all the way backslid all the way to 16th on those old tires. Just struggled for long run pace there. Gavin Higgins, Frank Fody, David Carpenter coming here to the checkered flag. It's going to lose a spot to Michael there on that last lap. Harry's going to get 20th. Brent Jones 21st. Then you get David Carpenter, Jeff Ryan, Dustin Dewar, and Goody. We get to watch Goody come through here. He comes off that last corner as we see Ethan Stanley doing his burnouts over here. Meanwhile, Goody just now coming by the pit entry. But nonetheless, Goody's going to see the checkered flag. Car's clean. They can load it up and take it to Dega if they want to next week. And on that note, we are going to jump to our last commercial break of the night while we get all these guys out here ready to be interviewed. So on the other side of this break, we will have the Lake Norman post-race meeting as they sweep the top 3 spots. So stick with us and we'll see you after this break.
3 years of sellout crowds, 3 years of edge-of-your-seat action, 3 years of jaw-dropping finishes. Worldwide Technology Raceway has rocked the world of NASCAR, and now NASCAR is giving us another reason to celebrate. The 2025 NASCAR Cup Series Championship playoffs are coming. Sunday, September 7th, 2025. Just when you thought the racing couldn't get any more intense, now every single lap matters. One wrong move could be the difference between elimination and being crowned the king. The Enjoy Illinois 300, the Confluence Music Festival, the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs, and for the first time in 15 years, the NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday, September 6th. Don't be on the outside looking in. See history being made in your own backyard. Go to www.raceway.com for the hottest ticket of the year. Since 2010, race fans have had one burning question. When will the Xfinity Series return to Worldwide Technology Raceway? You asked, NASCAR delivered. On Saturday, September 6, 2025, the magic is back. The track that launched the legendary careers of Harvick, Busch, Keselowski, Edwards, and Earnhardt Jr. is now ready to write that next chapter. We're going to introduce you to a new crop of future champions and Hall of Famers. And in the process, we'll create more of the greatest moments in racing history. NASCAR Weekend 2025, the NASCAR Cup Series Championship Playoffs, the Confluence Music Festival, and now 250 miles of the NASCAR Xfinity Series. 2 incredible races, 1 challenging track, a 3-day party of epic proportions. Go to www.raceway.com and lock in your weekend racing and camping packages for as little as $20 down.
And welcome back to Road America, and we're going to do it a little different this week. We typically interview these guys one at a time, but tonight, since it's the Lake Norman post-race meeting, we're going to have all 3 in here at the same time. We're going to give them the floor, talk about their night. We're going to start, of course, with Wadsworth, our third-place finisher. And Justin, if there was one of you guys that's a surprise on the podium, it might be you. You know, I don't know how good of a road racer you are. I saw Road America last year where you flipped over, came back to win the championship there in the Cup side. So talk to us about your night and how much you learned from Ethan Stanley and Tyler Fode to be able to run with them, or at least close to them, at the end of this thing tonight.
Yeah, speaking of the road course, I feel like I'm usually pretty good on them. I don't think anybody really compares to Stanley, so hats off to him. I mean, he's usually the class of the field. But yeah, Ethan's always super open with his setups, with everything, kind of what lines he's running, what he's doing on the track, and I know it's a big help for the team. So thanks to him, and great job to Tyler too. I was trying to reel him back in a little bit towards the end there, but just kind of ran out of time. But for all of us to take the top 3 is pretty awesome. So super happy with that.
All right, now don't go anywhere, Justin. We're going to go talk to Fode for a second. You know, let him talk about his night. And Fode, you started on the pool, which was a big surprise. You know, I thought Ethan Stanley would just have the goodbye from the drop, but you out-qualified him. But coming off of turn 2 on that first lap, Tyler, you lost the lead. So talk to us about your night and, you know, what you needed out here to try and beat Ethan.
Yeah, I'd rather just talk about qualifying. It was pretty cool to finally do that one time, but Stanley messed his lap up, so that was about the only chance we had there. Yeah, I was hoping to get a little better turn 1, but the braking zone's a little different, obviously, from a restart compared to a regular lap, so I was a little too conservative, I think, into 1. But yeah, I was just trying to get at least 1 lap led, but wasn't enough there. But the podium sweep's pretty cool. It definitely wasn't as straightforward as I think some of these road courses normally are. We had a lot of kind of fighting back through some guys on different strategies, but yeah, for the 3 of us to kind of get our way back through that and then finish up here, pretty cool.
Well, all right, the same thing I said to Justin. Stick around. We're going to move on to Stanley here for a minute. And Ethan, I mean, could this night have went any better for you? What is your take on these guys out here, and how much better are you than your 2 teammates?
I don't think I'm that much better on pace. It's just a little bit of tire staving here and there, and just consistency. You make 1 mistake, you lose like a second or 2. But yeah, I had a pretty solid night. Just pretty mistake-free, only a couple offs. Was able to work my way around the traffic when there was strategy played, and was able to just cap it off.
Now, this is going to be for all 3 of you. Feel free to chime in whenever and whatever. I want to talk about that middle part of the race. So to the end of the stage, it ran normal, like we've seen in a road course. The caution comes out. Everybody pits, probably banking on, running green, pitting it halfway. Well, we had those couple yellows. All the strategy kind of changed. Guys took fuel only. Some guys took tires. Some guys pitted the second caution. Talk to us about how you guys managed that situation from your standpoint.
You got it, Justin.
Oh, all right. Honestly, it was just kind of trying to take care of the tires and stay out of trouble. I feel like having these stage cautions just kind of makes a mess of things a lot of times. So, I mean, we were having those cautions. You're just trying to save as much fuel as possible, really. And then on the restarts, just trying to get away clean. I think for me, Ethan and Tyler, what really helped was that last restart, the three of us were able to kind of just break away and then just kind of manage our pace for the end of the race. So it worked out.
And back to that point in the race, I want to go back to one of those restarts there when a lot of guys stayed out. I believe it was the second time you guys pitted right at that 18, 19 to go. How close was the fuel for you guys there? And then after that, I want to know, Ethan, what were you thinking when you were on the outside of 3 wide down into turn 4 there, or turn 5?
Yeah, once we pit, we weren't really. I think we were pretty safe on fuel as long as we coasted under the yellows. Yeah, on that restart, 3 wide was pretty crazy. Just figured I needed to get to the outside if I was gonna get ahead and start chasing down Weeks, but we ended up getting the yellow anyway. But yeah, pretty interesting.
Well, all right, boys, before we let y'all jump out of here, and you can do this in any order you like, just go ahead and shout out any sponsors you guys have, who helps get you to the track week in, week out, and who's watching out there.
Well, Old Cutlet paints all of our stuff, so big shout out to him as always. Getting us all looking good up here. So, yeah, shout out to him. JD Designs. You got Blue Egg with Stanley, and then Justin repping the St. Jude's. So a lot of good stuff going on. Looking good while doing it, and hopefully we can do the same thing again next week. That'd be pretty cool.
Anybody else? Justin, Ethan?
Yeah, I mean, I'll jump in. Yeah, just shout out to the family, Lake Norman, and a special shout out to my mom. She gets surgery tomorrow, so I wish her the best of luck there. And then, yeah, shout out to Lake Norman, Ethan, Tyler, great job tonight. And shout out to the booth. You guys do an awesome job.
Ethan, you got anything out there?
Just as always, big thanks to you guys, especially Jake having to do a couple cautions. Not easy doing the admin. And big shout out to Chad and everybody else that runs this league.
Well, all right, that's 2 road courses in less than a week there for Ethan Stanley. One on the Cup side, one over here. Great run tonight for Lake Norman, to sweep that at the front here of Road America. So congrats to you guys on your podium sweep. Can't wait to see you guys next Monday. And I believe all 3 of you guys are probably looking pretty good to advance to the next round of the playoffs. Of course, Talladega, anything can happen. But congrats on the run tonight, guys.
Yeah, appreciate it.
All right, thanks guys.
Well, guys, we had a few cautions. We had some strategy. We had some chaos. Some guys are mad at each other like we just left Martinsville. Any final thoughts from you, Jake or Dave, here about what we've seen tonight and looking ahead to next week at Talladega?
Yeah, overall, a good road course race. Mixed in a few more cautions than we would have probably liked to see, but the restarts are the most exciting part of the race anyway. So that was good. We all got the winner that we expected. So just looking forward to Talladega and the cut line and just all the scenarios for guys to advance or get knocked out. Look forward to all that next week.
I thought it was a nice effort by everybody. We only had, looks like, 4 cars that didn't make it to the end and gave up at some point. So that's 25 of them who stuck it out clear to the end. So that's a pretty good effort. And I'm sure we'll have a lot more that don't finish the race next week.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to Talladega to watch. I have a lot more fun watching Talladega than I do racing in it. When you're trying to make a billion decisions a lap about what to do, it's going to be a lot of fun to see how that all plays out and how it wraps up this first round of the playoffs. But as always, every week, I'm going to give a special thanks here to Dave, everything he does at ERN, Jake for joining us in the booth and being the admin, Chad for the league that he's running over here at Elite, feel like it's getting better every season. Shout out to Blue Egg Marketing. Got to hear from them a couple times tonight, and of course they won the race. Shout out to Worldwide Technology Raceway. They got their every division that races in the United States, I feel like races at Worldwide Technology Raceway. So make sure you go out and check out your favorite series, whether it's IndyCar, NASCAR, or any kind of series that runs in America. I feel like they run there. And then our race sponsor tonight was ran in memory of Josh and Becky Mann, who tragically passed last week. They were pillars of the community in Taylor County, Wisconsin. The community is raising money for their 4 children facing a future without the guidance of their parents far sooner than they'd ever thought. And you can find a link to that GoFundMe in the YouTube description down below. So special shout out to them and Goody for putting it on his race car. Maybe he'll run it again next week at Talladega. I'm not sure, but he'll have a shot to run up front and maybe even win next week at Talladega. And that's something we got to think about moving into Dayca too. We're talking about all these guys who must win and have to win and need the points, but those guys that miss the playoffs, they're going to be trying to win just as hard, wanting to put a positive spin on their season, something to put a little juice in the vein and get ready to make a playoff run next year. But as for us, that's going to do it for us from Road America tonight. Make sure you tune in to ARCA tomorrow to watch Dave and Jake run at the road course tomorrow in ARCA. Going to be up there battling for the win. It's going to be exciting.
We got to make it to the airport first. We got a long flight to Austria.
Wednesday, we're going to be in action with the Cup Series. Thursday, the IndyCar Series. I believe it's going to be the last IndyCar race before the Indy 500 and all of that sets off, I believe.
Yep.
Right? It's
Indy GP. Bendy Indy.
That's right. So all the stuff that's going to happen is going to happen from Indy. And then Trucks will be back with you kicking off their playoffs next Sunday at Michigan. And then next Monday we'll be back with you. Same cast of characters, same time, same place, getting ready for Talladega and getting ready to eliminate some guys from the playoffs. So make sure you tune in here to the Elite Racing Network all week. Tune back in next Monday, and we will see you live from Talladega.